would reflect modern Australia, respect modern Australia and represent modern Australia. Serving in my shadow ministry is a privilege and it is a requirement to have confidence in the leadership. Senator Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price has failed the test of high standard that I have set for members of my shadow ministry. Several days ago, Senator Nimpijinpa Price made comments that were deeply hurtful to Indian Australians. The comments were wrong and should not have been made. Since that time, my team and I have been out listening to Australians of Indian heritage, and we have heard their response and the pain and hurt that these remarks provided for them. And despite being given the time and space to apologise, Senator Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price did not offer an apology today. And many Australians, not just of Indian heritage, have been calling for that apology, for remarks that were deeply hurtful. Now today, Senator Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price critically failed to provide confidence in my leadership of the Liberal Party. Confidence in the leader is a requirement for serving in the shadow ministry. A couple of hours ago, I spoke to the Senator and I advised her of my decision.
Shall Ms Price consider returning to the Nationals?
Well, these are matters for Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price to consider her future, but I warmly welcomed her into our Liberal Party party room and I still warmly welcome her in our Liberal Party. She is an outstanding Australian who has achieved much, and I know that she is admired and loved by many in this country. Her membership of the Liberal Party is something we continue to welcome and support.
Jacinta Price says she expressed her disappointment that some of her comments about mass migration were disregarded. What did she say to you?
Well, I don't divulge the details of private conversations. My call to her was to advise her of the decision that I have made and to advise her that today, critically, she refused to express confidence in my leadership of the Liberal Party, and confidence in the leader is a requirement for serving in the shadow ministry.
Have you considered dumping her altogether from the party room, given she won't express confidence in you?
I've just answered that question. She's warmly welcomed into the Liberal Party party room and we warmly welcome her membership of the Liberal Party.
What's your message to people thinking about protesting on migration this Saturday in Melbourne?
The issues of infrastructure, migration and getting the balance right are important ones. And many people across this country, including at marches, are expressing those concerns. Migrant communities also hold those concerns. There is not a failure on behalf of any migrant or migrant community. This is a failure of our government for not providing the infrastructure that allows for the jobs, services, schooling, education, roads, etc., to actually support our growing communities. And I will not take a step back from being critical of the government in not getting that balance right when it comes to migration and infrastructure, particularly with respect to housing.
Last question, guys.
Did the Senator try to convince you that she should stay?
As I said, I don't divulge private conversations, but today I advised the Senator of the decision that I had made. Critically, that confidence in the leadership of the Liberal Party, and that's my leadership, is required for anyone to serve in my shadow ministry. Thank you.
All right, there was a handful of questions answered there by Sussan Ley at the end of that press conference, confirming what we relayed to you at the top of the show, that Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price has now been dumped from the shadow ministry, from the Liberal Party front bench. I'll make a couple of comments there about some internal processes that were raised by journalists there. It's not a requirement to be a Liberal Party member of the party room to express confidence in the leader. I mean, you have to express confidence in the party and its values, but there's no suggestion that Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price will leave the Liberal Party room, which of course she joined after the recent election. The leader has made this very much about the comments that Price made this afternoon in WA, where she declined or failed to express confidence in Sussan Ley's leadership. Now, there'll be a big job done by Sussan Ley's office and Liberal moderates tonight to spin this as being Sussan Ley being tough about those comments in relation to Indian migration. But I will make the point, borne out by the evidence of the last week, at no point over the last 7 days, and she has been asked repeatedly, has Sussan Ley said publicly at any stage that Jacinta Nimpijinpa Price should apologise. Indeed, I make the further point that it wasn't until Monday that Sussan Ley picked up the phone and spoke personally with Jacinta Price. As I said, I think this is the beginning of the end, not the end of a difficult few days, and we'll see what plays out in coming weeks.